What's going on? What's going on? I'm on my way to do the Christmas stops in the middle of the damn rain. But enough of that. Man, let's talk about Terrence Crawford. Let's talk about Shawn Porter. Shawn Porter's been he's been making it, known a lot lately that, he wants to fight Terrence Crawford. He wants that fight to happen. And he's kind of pretty much made it clear that, hey, all it takes is, for Terrence Crawford to, quote, say yes and want it to happen in order for them to do that particular fight. And he's been very, very, very vocal about it, And some believe that, since, Terrence Crawford doesn't get the Earl Spence fight, Terrence Crawford doesn't get the Manny Pacquiao fight, that, this is the fight that he's going to have to take, just due to the fact that Shawn Porter is mandatory. This is the guy who's going to be the one he's going to have to fight, or will fight, just due to the fact that it also would be the most lucrative fight that he would have available out there. But I hate to bust everybody's bubbles, because I know people get hyped up and people get really excited when certain things get mentioned, because people love the sport, and they want to, when it comes to Bud, they want the best for Bud. They want to see Bud take on the best and handle his business against the best and get his just due in doing so. And one of those guys is Shawn Porter, so a win against, he does to Shawn Porter what he's done to everybody else in the welterweight division. That's saying something, just due to the fact that no one else has done it, and Shawn Porter's not washed up. Shawn Porter's not coming off multiple knockouts, nothing like that. In the fight that, in his last fight, even though he lost, some people think he won that fight. Some people think it was a very, very close fight. He made a great account for himself. They lost absolutely nothing from that fight. Him and Earl Spence fight, again, they're doing 350, 400 plus thousand views, just off the strength of how incredible that first fight was. So it would be an awesome fight for him. It would be an incredible fight. I'll be paying for it. Shoot, I'll be paying for that bad boy a week early to make sure there ain't no problems with my streams. A week early to make sure everything is good. I don't care what, the 75, 80 bucks, 90 bucks, 100 bucks. I'm paying for that fight. Straight up. I don't care what the price is. So definitely be paying for that fight. But, my motto, my philosophy, don't let the love of boxing close your eyes to reality. And the reality is that fight's not going to happen. Terrence Crawford is not fighting Shawn Porter. Okay? The WBO is not mandating that fight. Danny Garcia was Terrence Crawford's mandatory for a long period of time. The WBO never mandated that fight. Okay? They never mandated it. Austin Trout right now is suing the WBO because they moved him off the spot that he was in, put somebody else in for the fight for the 154-pound belt. So he's suing right now, because they did that for like $20-something million or something like that, because they, quote, violated their own rules. But they don't care. At the end of the day, they call it what Bob orders for a reason. They're going to do what Bob Arum wants them to do. That's number one. Number two, even if, they were to mandate it, Shawn Porter is not taking that fight at no damn 25%. You got to understand, he would get, if it was mandated, he gets 25% of the purse if they go through a mandate. So it's not going to happen. And what's his name? And Bob Arum's not investing any money in that fight anyway. He's already said it. He's not investing any dough in that fight. The most he's willing to pay Shawn Porter to do a fight is $1 million. That's it. He said, if Shawn Porter's willing to take $1 million, cool, I'll do it. In a heartbeat. Shawn Porter made $2-point-something million in this last fight. That's not even including his television rights, whatever else he got on the side. Just his purse was like $2-point-something million or something like that. He's not going to take that money, that type of money, to face freaking Terrence Crawford, when he can get that type of money fighting anybody. He can fight Ugas in a rematch and get that bread. He can fight Keith Thurman in a rematch and get more than that. He can do all that instead. He has other options that he can do. He's not taking a massive pay cut to fight Terence Crawford. So the fight's not going to happen. And Fox, PBC, they're not investing $10, $15 million into a freaking... It's not happening. Where 75% is going to Terence Crawford? Dude, it's not happening, yo. This fight is not happening. The only way this fight would happen is if Terence Crawford and his team really, actually, honestly, were willing to negotiate in good faith because they really wanted to fight, and where they give like reasonable splits with him and Sean Porter. That's the only way that fight would happen. But since they're not willing to do that, it's not gonna happen. So people getting hyped up about whether Sean Porter says something, or they get hyped up because Terence Crawford says something. It means nothing, because at the end of the day, things are going to end up just the way they ended up with everything else. We've seen this story for years when it comes to Bob Arum. We've seen this story for years when it comes to Top Rank. We've seen this story for years when it comes to Terence Crawford. We've seen it. We've seen it. And with the way they're moving, it's clear that they're okay with the way things are. They're okay with the way things are going on. And they're going to stay in the path that they're on right now. That's just what it's going to be. So people need to stop hyping themselves up. And people need to just focus on the real reality of what's going on when it pertains to these two people. The fight between these two guys is not going to happen. It's not. It's not. We're going to see, not to mention Sean Porter. Sean Porter knows that he has the options of probably doing a fight with Earl Spence. If Manny Pacquiao doesn't fight Earl Spence next, what's the biggest fight for Earl Spence as far as pay-per-view is concerned? Because he's going to want to have pay-per-view money. That's what he's going to want. And he's already said it that, he's open to a rematch with Sean Porter. Because he understands, he's not stupid. He understands that this is probably going to be the only bout that's out there that's a pay-per-view bout. And that's it. So everybody have a good holiday. Y'all be safe out there. Like, subscribe, share. I'm out.